Namaskar. The Iran-Israel ceasefire kicked in about half an hour ago. Till about the very last minute, Iran was still firing ballistic missiles, 6 rounds as a matter of fact. One place, 𝗣𝗽𝗫 has been affected, 8 people killed, about 30 injured, and that count may go up because people are sleeping in a residential complex where this missile landed. Rest of the country of Israel appears to have escaped damage. This is after this ceasefire was agreed in principle. So now from this point forward, if anything happens, that would be a violation of the ceasefire. This is the initial point. I would like to include, I'd like to have Colonel Tikoo come and tell us what he thinks about the ceasefire and who gained, who lost, and what is the perception from an army man. We are all, we are non-army people. Sometimes we don't get the complete picture right. Let's welcome Colonel Saab. Colonel Saab, namaskar, Ram Ram. How are you?
Thank you very much, 𝗟𝗘𝗏, Ram Ram, Jai Shri Ram. Thank you once again for calling me on your podcast. Thank you very much.
Colonel Saab, Israel is tired because since October 7, 2023, they have been fighting, either it is Hamas or Hezbollah or Syria, and then finally Iran. They are tired and they think that they have achieved all their objectives, including degrading significantly the Fordo plant, because after the B2 bombing, they went and did one more round because people thought that there may be some enriched uranium still lying there, hidden somewhere. They did. So from Israeli point of view, looks like they have met their objectives, except of course the regime change. Nobody expected that to happen now. Might happen in the near future. So Israel, hisab kitab, it's clear to see. Tell us, why did Iran agree to this? And there was a token firing or bombing of the Qatar US airbase, which US had vacated few days ago. Beyond that, what has Iran got something out of the ceasefire? Your point, sir.
First of all, as far as Israel is concerned, it is true that they have been fighting, in fact, since October 7, 23. But I would say that their objectives have more or less been achieved. In any war, when you set up objectives, every war has an aim. You don't fight a war without an aim. Even if it is thrust on you, you still have an aim.
Right.
And it is rarely possible to achieve all the ingredients of that aim that you have formulated. In the olden days, the aim, warfare used to be a little different. For example, in the 1971 war, our objective was to liberate Bangladesh. Within 13-14 days, we did that, and we had no other interest. We could have done anything in the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. We could have done anything in Pakistan because their morale was low. Most of their troops had already been captured in Pakistan. They still had a lot of troops in West Pakistan, but we could have shifted troops from the east to west and done what we wanted. But that was not the objective, because the objective had already been gained. Similarly, in 65 war, when Pakistan attacked and reached almost Shamjore and Akhnoor Bridge, we pushed them back. And when we pushed them back, that was our objective. Pakistan could not achieve its objective, so they went back and they accepted the ceasefire. Same is true with Iran and Israel. First of all, there are two parts to it. One, did Israel achieve all its objectives? I would say it largely did, because they have, you have to see, Iran was troubling Israel from 3 of its proxies and then itself, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis. As we know that when Israelis hit Iran, Hezbollah did not come into action at all. They still have a large number of missiles with them. They have not expended all their missiles, but they did not they did not join the war on behalf of Israel. Houthis always, they have been saying we'll hit, but actually when it comes to helping Iran, even they did not hit that strongly as was expected of them. As far as Hamas is concerned, that's almost, they were in no position to fight at all. Their fighting capabilities have been completely degraded. So these three are there now. In Syria, Syria could have, Bashar al-Assad could have definitely helped, because the kind of man he is, and the kind of Shia militias he had under him, and the force he had, with particularly Russia helping. They could have helped him, but they dealt with him much before the attack on Iran came. So what had happened was, the outer circle of the support base of Iran was firstly demolished by Israel on its own. America did not get into that. And finally, it attacked Iran, because attacking Iran and demolishing their nuclear sites, or degrading their air force, was beyond the capability of Israel by itself. So that is where America came in. Therefore, I would say that there are two reasons why Israel accepted. First, they had by and large achieved, if not 100%, at least 70 to 80% of their objectives. And more importantly, Israel doesn't have the capacity in terms of huge land area, or even its population, because the same man works in an office, and the same man runs a tank and fires a missile. So, with less than about 1 crore population that it has got, it suffered a huge damage. Comparatively, it has suffered, because it has never suffered this much damage since Israel was formed 48, 49, 47, like that. And could Israel have taken any more punishment? I would say no, because they cannot afford it. Not in terms of money or weaponry they have, but in terms of the manpower, in terms of the land they have got, small bit of land in such huge enemies surrounding it. So I think the Iron Dome, which was supposed to be infallible, it did not work. It must have worked. My own assessment, it must have worked about 90%, because when even Iron Dome or any such anti-aircraft system is overwhelmed by huge number of missiles coming at it, some of them will go through, and the missiles are so powerful that moment they get through, then they are going to cause damage. So I think from that point of view, Israel accepted the ceasefire. Besides, I would say that when the orders came from President Trump, Israel had no alternative. It cannot march a step without American support. So when America says that we have decided to have ceasefire, Israel had no other alternative. But these are the reasons why Israel. As far as Iran is concerned, I think any further delay in accepting ceasefire would have caused them great harm. They had everything to lose. According to them, they had moved their nuclear assets somewhere else before the Americans came in, but I don't believe that. I think they have suffered a huge damage on all 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, Natanz, and Isfahan. They have suffered a huge damage, and I think for next 20 years it will be impossible for Iran to prepare a nuclear weapon. More importantly, its military leadership has almost not completely, but substantially degraded, because they initially killed many generals of both IRGC and the military also, and political leadership also. I'm not very sure what's going to happen now, but any further delay in accepting the ceasefire would have harmed Iran immensely, because we must say the next target would be perhaps Khomeini himself, and President Trump said we know exactly where he is, but we don't want to kill him. And otherwise also, you cannot run a government whose military and civil political leadership has completely been, almost complete or substantially been eliminated. Plus, you have to also see that irrespective of what Khomeini might say, there is a huge lot of opposition to his rule, which the liberals feel is very cruel. And the way, last year alone, they hanged executed 365 people, which is a huge number. So it's not that there is no opposition to them. So therefore, in the given circumstances, I would say that they saved their face yesterday, because last night, Indian Standard Time, because they did manage to hit back at America in Qatar. And I think Americans expected it. They had to save their face that America attacked us, and we hit back at America on their bases around the Middle East. So I think it is it's a win-win situation for both of them as we see the situation now. How it is going to politically manifest itself in the coming days, I think we'll have to see that, because both are now licking their wounds. And even I would say that even America, I don't think that many people are happy with America having taken this kind of stand, even within America. Therefore, I think it is the right thing for President Trump to have decided to ceasefire.
Thank you so much, Colonel Saab. I have one question. Supposing they did move the enriched uranium out of one of these plants where they were enriching it, that is usually now, I said it's pretty portable. I heard that even a 3 feet drum-like structure, you can put the enriched uranium and move it around. My question is, it's so enriched, would it not leave a radioactive trace?
I totally agree with you, because after all, using bunker buster, that too in tandem, it must have really reached great depths and must have caused enormous damage. After all, it goes to 2,000. Just one bomb goes to the depth of 2,000 feet, and if they have themselves said that each aircraft was carrying 2 of these, that means 200 plus 200 feet is 400 feet, which is fairly great depth at which they would have kept their enriched uranium, or even further where the heavy water plant is there. So I think at the end of the day, there are contradictory. If you recall what President Trump said, he used the word, we have obliterated their nuclear sites. But his chief of staff did not use that word. He said we have he said something, but not obliterated. He did not use the word
degraded. Yeah.
Degraded. Degraded and obliterated, there is a huge difference between the two.
Of course.
I would say that is Iran's capacity to produce a nuclear weapon for few more years is going to be very, even if they have enriched uranium, it will be very difficult for them to make a nuclear bomb. Their airspace firstly was completely dominated by Israel in the very first day. Iran could not, you must have never heard an Iran flying its aircraft, because they were all destroyed on the ground. The only thing they could do is fly the missiles. Fire the missile. There was no aircraft. So under the circumstances, with Iran having suffered so much, and it has militarily suffered, I think it will be very difficult for Iran to produce a nuclear weapon in the coming few days. But what has happened with Iran, what has happened between Israel and Iran, what has happened with America and Iran, between Iran's allies like Russia and China and Iran, it is going to have extremely serious ramifications. I would say colossal ramifications for the whole of Middle East in the years to come.
Thank you, Colonel Saab. So let's take this thing one step forward. What comes next? So they know then they cannot fire nuclear missiles. That means they continue to, another H-named group, something else, who will try to use probably similar stuff. So there will be constant pinpricks for Israel. If Israel wants a regime change, they will be hoping that whoever they bring in would be somewhere more Western oriented, like the Shah was, and that is from, you can control from within. Do you think that Israel will still continue to try and effect that? Because otherwise it can't sleep at night. It will be the same thing, isn't it?
Yes, you have. That's why I said there's going to have huge political ramifications in the years to come, because we don't know exactly what is the damage suffered by Israel or Iran's nuclear weapons, nuclear preparation of a nuclear. I don't know. We don't know how much damage. In my assessment, they have suffered considerable damage, and they will not be able to produce for some more years. But see, if you see what has happened actually in Middle East, first of all, even the OIC, where Iran is one of the first 5 most important states, Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, these are considered to be very, very important states in OIC. Nobody came to its rescue, first thing. Secondly, by and large, almost every Arab state has established peace with Israel. In fact, Saudi Arabia was also going to sign the Abraham Accords and establish diplomatic relations, but then October 7 event came and that put the whole thing on the back burner. If you see all these countries, most of the Arab countries, which are Sunni countries, they only issued statements and they have almost reached, they have decided to live in peace with Israel. Iran was the one which was not getting reconciled to this fact. And there was a reason for it. I think it had more to do with politics within Islamic Ummah than Arab-Israeli, Iran-Israeli conflict. Because it is a civilizational warfare for Islamic nations to have constant conflict with Israel. So that it's come from the time the Islam was born, a few years after that. Therefore, that part having been given up by the Arabs by having reached agreement with having developed, Egypt and Jordan have diplomatic relations with them. Saudi Arabia was going to do it. Other Arab nations perhaps don't even count. So they have almost reached it. It was Iran only which was now emerging as the upholder of Islamic civilizational values as they will define it, because they are the ones who are opposing Iran. They don't want Iran to be even living, because that is a statement they had given a few years back. We would like to see Israel being wiped out of the map of the earth. And they have constantly been, death to America, death to Israel. Anti-Americanism, anti-Israelism is the foundation of their foreign policy. Therefore, that could not have been accepted. I have a feeling that Iran, whether there will be a regime change or not, I think there will be a regime change, but it will not be the way we see it. I think in the days to come, there is going to be some kind of a turmoil within Iran, whether the hardliners will come to power, replacing Khamenei, or a softer line will be adopted. But there is going to be a definitely big political upheaval in Iran. If that happens, what line do they? Do they take the same line of deciding, okay, we have had enough this Zionist versus Islam 𝗥𝗘, let's live in peace from now on? If that happens, that will be the greatest achievement for Israel and America in this part of the world. If that does not happen, then I am afraid Iran is not really, if that does not happen, it will be problems, there will be conflict. But I don't think Iran is now in a position to cause much damage to either Israel or to its American bases in that area. So I think at the end of the day, if you see, this has been a good war for Israel, and Iran has suffered a great deal, despite the fact that Israel has suffered a lot of material damage.
Thank you so much, Colonel Saab. Now let's see what happens as far as the sanctions that are already in place on Iran. They'll have to start from zero again. I mean, they'll have to start talks with the United States and find out how the JCPOA can still be brought back into focus, and how they make sure that, again, see, the difference between two nuclear powers, Israel and Iran, is one is a signatory to the Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, which is Iran, and the other is not. Only 4 countries which have nuclear bombs are not NPT. They have not signed the NPT. India, Israel, Pakistan, and North Korea. These 4 countries have the bomb, but they have not signed the NPT. And India is very clear when they are doing all the nuclear accords with the United States. Look, the first 5 countries, that is the 5 UNSC permanent members, you have your own atom bomb, and then you say nobody else can build their own bomb. And why? What is it that you can still use it, but we can't even build it? So that was the stand taken, and Israel got away, India has got it, South Korea, North Korea, and Pakistan. So that's pretty clear. Now, Iran falls between the cracks here. it did sign the NPT, which means it is always going to be under the gun where they'll have to subject themselves to IAEA inspections. That is how they find out if somebody is following the NPT or not. So I don't know your thoughts whether Iran might say, look, we also want to leave the NPT. Along with the sanctions, we also want to leave the NPT. How will America look at that?
See, under no, first of all, let's be very clear on this. For the next 50 years, I mean, that much forward one can look, Iran will not be able to make a nuclear bomb. Whenever it is close to making one, it will be destroyed by Israel. Israel cannot accept Iran as a nuclear weapon state, particularly with the kind of philosophy that has come to rule the ruling classes, has been the focus of ruling classes after 𝗪𝗧 𝗫𝗫𝗅 was dethroned. So let's be very clear on this. Israel will not accept it, and they won't allow it to have it. And I think Iran must have also learned that no matter how much, where all they hide their weapons, the technology is marching so ahead that they will be found out, they'll be caught. In fact, I would say that regime change is very much on the cards, and whatever regime comes into play, they will have no alternative but to establish peace with Israel. I think that's what is going to happen. They will not have they won't be allowed to have a nuclear bomb, no matter whether they have signed A treaty or B treaty or C treaty. They will have to live in peace with Israel, and that is what this war was all about. And I think Israel and America will definitely have it. Yes.
Sorry, sir. If I understand you correctly, what you're saying is the sanction lifting will not even happen before regime change. So the sequence is regime change, then relook at how Iran can join the mainstream economics and finance and industry and so on and so forth. Is that how you are seeing it? Regime change, then?
Yeah, absolutely. See, the question is of will present regime go totally against what it has preached and practiced for the last 30-40 years? I don't think that is possible. That will be too huge a loss of face for them. So is it possible that somebody within the system will tell Khamenei, okay, please go, you are already very old, let's have a new this thing, and then they start giving signals, okay, we want to live in peace with you, then only can this new the talks on the sanctions start. And that's how I look at the problem. And because the war has been fought for certain things, unless those aims are objective, militarily they could object to 30, 60, 70%. Politically, they will have to now fight it out to ensure what's going to happen. One thing I would like to mention here, that if there is no regime change, if the same regime continues, and hardliners, as we know, hardliners are ruling in Iran, then the lone wolf attacks on American assets will take place. I can assure you that. Because, you have to understand one thing, that Iranian civilizational ethos, particularly after Iran became Islamic, is based on martyrdom. Shahadat is the basic foundation on which the followers of Imam Hussein establish their very identity. So there will be lone attacks on the Iranian American essence, whether in the Middle East or anywhere else. If the same regime continues and same hardliners continue to have a hold on the government there, and this can only be obviated if the to use a word like regime change, we have got it. It's like what we saw in Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi. It's not going to be like that. If within the same system those people take over who are not as rigid or who are not as hardliners, then there is a chance that peace might come back, and they will say, okay, we won't make a nuclear weapon, but please give us A, B, C, D instead. So there a lot of aid will pour, and slowly Iran will also become like one of the Arab states, living in peace with Israel. If that does not happen, then we'll see these things, lone wolf attacks, Mossad getting inside, killing someone, or like Soleimani, like assassination. That will happen.
Thank you so much, Colonel Saab. I'm also hearing that for the past several years, ever since they've been under the sanctions, like 2018, Iran has been selling crude illegally to countries like China at 30% discount. 30%. Russia gave us $32 off. It did not give 30%. It was the actual fixed number. And so that part, I don't know how that is going to be rectified, because now one of the huge terminals from where oil could be taken out has been completely decimated by Israel. So Khag Island is still there, because that is where the rest of all the oil deposit, everybody's in the small cluster of the area.
Yes.
The entire Saudi Arabia doesn't have oil. It's only in a small pocket that they have that. So this is going to be interesting, because it's in Iran's interest to sell its oil legitimately so that they can get the actual book price, list price, market price, not something discounted, hush, 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 hush. So I don't know how this is going to play out. Like you said, a quiet change in guard where moderate faces will be projected, and slowly they might start saying, okay, burqa is not mandatory. They won't say anything else. It's not, they won't say optional. They'll say it is not mandatory. Slight difference, Not mandatory is different from saying is optional. If it's optional, means nobody is going to wear it. If it is not mandatory, then there is a sense of doubt. Maybe it is, maybe it is not. Maybe they are going to catch us, that sort of stuff. So we'll wait and see how it goes. Colonel Tikoo ji, it was wonderful. You gave a very fresh perspective on how these ceasefires come into play and what happens after that. Thank you so much, sir. We have one or two questions from our viewers, and then we can wrap up.
I just want to mention one thing. You did not ask me the most important thing that is affecting the subcontinent, Indian subcontinent. So we'll do it next time, and that is Pakistan's role in this whole thing. So shameless conduct. And I think that is something we need to discuss.
We'll do it separately as a separate, because you have a time constraint. Yes. You have a time constraint. Next time around, we will definitely talk. Nobody's going anywhere, sir, especially Pakistan. They're probably confused who to side next. Let's go to questions now. SK Digital wants to know, Namaskaram, sir. It's either calm before the storm, or was it a big game plan? Is Deep State too involved in this war?
Nothing happens without involvement of deep state. But I think the objectives were pretty clear, and to a large extent, those objectives, as I said, have been achieved by Israel. Iran has not completely been demolished. They have also managed to save their face, particularly by the kind of damage they inflicted on Israel. And they can always go around tell the world that we did damage Israel like hell. If America had not come to their rescue, we would perhaps have demolished Israel. They will have this kind of talking point. So to that extent, Iran has been able to save their face. And also because just before the ceasefire, they were able to hit American assets in Qatar in whatever manner. It was a fixed, I think it was a fixed match. The Americans must have told them, okay, you hit there, save your face, then we'll order ceasefire. Neither you can fight, neither we want to fight. Israel also is not in a position to fight anymore. We'll discuss on the table after that. So that's what perhaps has happened.
Thank you, sir. Next question, please. This is the last question. Sree Devika wants to know, Namaskaram. Whichever regime comes to war, will they now have a long-term mistrust and revenge on Pakistan?
This is what we will discuss in the next thing. But 100%, at least how the world sees it, Pakistan has been completely exposed. You know, they sent a letter officially to the Nobel Peace Committee to honor President Trump with a Nobel Peace Prize, and at the same time, then their chief, who's the most powerful person, is invited by President Trump and told, we don't know what he has been told, but the indication was quite clear that he sided with Trump in their attack on Iran. So there have been massive protests in Pakistan against America, and the chief, the most powerful man, goes and sits with and has lunch with Trump. It's going to have severe repercussions in Pakistan, but it's a long subject. I think we need to discuss it separately.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Colonel Tikoo. And viewers, will be back again with Colonel Tej Tikoo ji in about a couple of weeks' time. Same time, 2 weeks from now, Tuesday, 10 o'clock. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you, Iyar Sahib. Thanks a lot. God bless you. Thank you. Namaskar.